Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Matt with All Day Everyday Preparedness, and this is All Day Everyday Preparedness News. Got a breaking news story here. The potential rail worker strike could be massive, guys. It could cause potential food shortages and empty shelves everywhere. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. Coming up right after these important messages. All right, guys, things aren't looking good with the rail workers union. Potential rail worker strike could happen as early as next week if a long-term agreement isn't settled. Now, this would be a logistical nightmare, a logistical SHTF if there ever was a thing. Now, massive food shortages and empty shelves everywhere could be the result of this rail worker strike. Now, that's why I make these videos, guys, to help you get prepared and help you be SHTF ready. Now, you can help me in doing that by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. That way my content can get out to more viewers and we can help everybody get prepared. Now, if you remember last month, President Biden, he rolled out the emergency federal action that stopped the rail worker strike from happening last month. Well, guys, those temporary measures expire next week on September 16th. And if they do expire, get ready for massive food shortages and total SHTF for our shipping industry here in America. You see, the railroad and the trucking industry go together hand in hand. Now, as you know, we're already at least 80,000 truck drivers short. And that has caused all kinds of problems within the past year or two, as you've known and as you've seen from these empty shelves. Now, remember all the empty shelves at Walmart and all the empty shelves at Target? That was in part due to the massive truck driver shortage. And we're still low on truck drivers today. But now the rail workers may strike, guys, and that's going to leave the bulk of the transporting of goods left to the trucking industry. And as I just stated, they're already short, so they're not going to be able to handle that massive load from the rail worker industry. Now, this would create massive food shortages all across the country, but not just food shortages and empty shelves. This rail worker strike would affect all types of other goods as well. We're talking raw materials for building, for furniture, dry goods, you name it. So if the trucking industry can't haul it, that's when the railroad picks up the slack. So bottom line, they go hand in hand. We're already truck drivers short 80,000. And now if the rail workers strike, the truckers have to pick up that slack. But with an 80,000 driver shortage, they're not going to be able to do it. You see, trains can carry so much more goods on average than any truck can haul. Now, you still need truck drivers to unload and take the goods to their final destination. But our railways are so important, and a shutdown of even a short amount of time would cripple our already weak supply chain. Now, ever since 2019 and early 2020, we've seen things go from bad to worse when it comes to our supply chain here in America. And we've all seen the empty shelves. We've all seen the food shortage and common everyday items that are not on the shelves. So it's happening, guys, all across the world to the global supply chain. But for us here in America, a rail worker strike could send things into SHTF mode very, very quickly. Also, a rail worker strike is going to cause problems for everyone, for every single American. Now, especially for those in business, those that deal in the business sector. They rely on timely shipments of goods so they can in return get those goods inventoried, get them stocked up, and get them sold to their customers. So imagine if there's a massive shortage or there's a delay of a week or 2 or 3 or more, then they're going to have problems. They have to pass those problems on to us, the consumers. So it's going to be bad for everyone, guys. So if we think high food prices are a problem now, I mean, just wait and see if this rail worker strike actually happens, guys. I mean, it's going to be inflation and high food prices, and they're going to explode. You see, the trucking industry would have to try to pick up that slack and ship the goods while the rail workers are on strike or while they're shut down. And with the high cost of fuel and the truck driver shortage that we've already talked about, that's going to cause the price of goods to go even higher. I'm talking about skyrocketing food prices. You see, over 115,000 rail workers across the U.S. would stop working if a strike happens. So just think about that. 115,000 rail workers would be on a strike or would be locked out from the company that they work for. It could go both ways if an agreement isn't reached. Now, see, as I've already covered, that amount of manpower, that amount of logistics, that can't be replaced overnight. And as I've already covered, the trucking industry just won't be able to handle and pick up that slack. Now, according to a recent article, if a rail worker strike did happen, it would cost the U.S. $2 billion per day in output. So think about that, $2 billion per day. Now, that strike would also require over 400,000 long-haul trucks each and every day just to keep up with the diverted railroad shipments. So if the railroad and the rail workers strike, you're going to need an additional 400,000 trucks to haul those goods to pick up the slack. And we're already at a shortage. Not counting the trucks that's already on the road, we're talking an additional 400,000 each and every day just to get goods from point A to point B to make up for the railroad guys. So again, if this strike does happen, it's going to be devastating to our economy. It's going to be bad news for our global and our U.S. supply chain, guys. So you see, guys, a rail worker strike would devastate and cripple the U.S. supply chain. I mean, we would have a full-scale supply chain crisis on our hands. And within a short period of time, I mean, there would be empty shelves everywhere. Just like the title of this video suggests, it would be empty shelves everywhere. Now, I hope that you guys watching this video, that you're taking preparedness seriously and you really see and understand the need why you need to start preparing and prepping now. Now, normally as a prepper, you're preparing and you're prepping for SHTF. But as you can see, a rail worker strike would affect every American in one way or another. I mean, really think about it, guys. How long do you think your average grocery store is going to last where you live? Whether you live in a big city or you live in a small town or you live somewhere in the middle. I mean, really think about it. How long do you think your grocery store is going to have food? How long do you think that food is going to take before it runs out? Especially if that store hasn't received their weekly shipment of food. Instead of every week or a couple times a week, now your local store gets a shipment every 2 weeks or maybe even longer. So again, ask yourself, how long do you think before my store would run out of food if there's a rail worker strike and they can't get the goods shipped from here to there to where they need to go? Now, especially once the word would get out, as you know, people would start panic buying. And your grocery store would look something like from The Walking Dead, guys. So get prepared. Stocking up your food and your supplies. Take preparedness seriously. That is the key. You don't want something like this to happen and not have the essentials like food and water available to you, especially if a rail worker strike does happen. Again, it's going to be massive all over the country. Workers are shut down or they're locked out. And those goods, again, it would take 400,000 trucks per day is not going to be operating either. It's going to be a shortage. The stores will run out of goods. It will look just like last year and 2020, but even worse. Okay. And again, these things are happening at an increased rate, guys, and it's just not looking good. So any more problems, let's just say that the supply chain crisis had a little relief. Let's say that this strike didn't happen. Okay, even if it didn't, it's still already weakened, as you know. So it would just take one more thing to throw it off again. And again, that's why we prepare, especially in today's times that we're living in. We have to be prepared. We just don't know. But if you're like me and you've been paying attention, you see that things are off in this world. We just can't explain it, but we see that things are off. You see that they're heading towards SHTF. And it doesn't matter which direction that you look in, something is off somewhere. Now, whether it's the supply chain, whether it's the financial system, the energy crisis, the climate crisis, whether it's wars and rumors of wars, you name it, everything is off right now in the world, especially if you're taking notice. So guys, continue to prepare, continue to stock up on your food, your water, your supplies, and continue prepping for SHTF. That way you can be SHTF ready. Now, we don't know when SHTF will occur, but we do know that SHTF is coming, guys, and that's why we prepare. So I want to thank you all for watching this quick breaking news video on the rail worker strike. Don't forget to like this video. It's really easy. Just hit the like button below the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any content and breaking news just like this, guys. But again, thank you guys for watching. Continue to prepare, and as always, be blessed.